2013 edition of the Kiwanis Club of Cleveland. Our patriotic song today will be led by Jerry Arms, our Pledge of Allegiance by Steve Ledbetter, and our invocation by Blake Peterson. Please face the flag.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bow our heads, please. Dear Father, we thank you for our health. Help us to help those who are not as healthy or unable to be with us today, and let us pray for them that you would comfort them and heal them. Thank you for our prosperity. Help us to use our prosperity to help those in our community and in our nation and in our world who are less prosperous than us. Help us to help the children, because they're our future. Be with all of the families who cannot be here today, and use this food to our use and us to your service. In his name we ask you. Amen.
Jerry, do we have any guests today, sir?
Well, we do. The fact is, we had two guests with the same name. Hassan Najjar, you're here, and then there was a lady at the front had the same card, so I don't know. Just keep in this back here sound so I can tell the difference, okay?
Let's welcome our guests. All right, Mystery Kiwanians. Do we have a Mystery Kiwanian today? Oh, Steve, sorry.
Charlie Sutton.
Wow. Well, where do you want your $2 to go? Number one, to the foundation, that Youth Community Service Foundation, which actually provides scholarships to young people in the community, or do you want it to go, your $2 to go to Eliminate, our international project to eliminate maternal and neonatal tetanus?
I'm being told by the table to split it.
That's politically correct. That's wise.
Charlie Sutton. Where did you put it?
50-50.
50-50. Correct.
All right, split the pot dollars, split the pot opportunity. We've got $20 in the pot today. $10 goes to the winner. Go ahead and get your tickets ready. And Melissa, if you would, pick out a ticket. Read the last three digits of the ticket, please.
Let's read this one.
Okay, Chris, that would be 666.
Make sure it wasn't me. Wait.
I'm not willing to claim I've got that number or not.
And he did the prayer.
That'll cover you. That balances it out since you did the prayer.
And as far as door prizes, we're going to draw for door prizes at the end, so please keep your tickets till the end of the meeting, please. Ding, ding, ding. Hello, Roger Delta. All right. Bruce Bradford, Tracy, Pancake Day, let's talk.
There is a sign-up list coming around. Two things, if your name is not on there and you can help Saturday, please let us know. Let us know the hours. You notice this time we've had an open seating sign-up. So if you know the hours, you can be there. Secondly, if you have a preference, whether you're on the front line, in the kitchen, just put it on there. If you don't care, if you're willing to help anywhere at anywhere, that is great too. Just put anywhere. But I want to give you an opportunity to let us know. I know some of us can't do just everything, and that is fine. If you have any question about those definitions, just ask any old timers around you, including myself. So anyway, the old time is in long time in Kiwanis, that is. Also, too, please make your effort to get your tickets sold. And remember, they're $6 a piece in groups of 25 or more, or $5 a piece. Any questions about Saturday? We need folks there as early as 6, and we will be stopping serving at 10:30. Hope to have everybody out of there by 11:30. Already.
You got a question, sir?
Yeah. Do we have the information for the placemats?
Yes.
Okay. Because I've been kind of out of pocket for the last few months.
Okay, very good. Yes, I think Tracy does. And Tracy has something about Pancake Day?
I'm happy to announce that I've been in contact with Alan Hunt at Walker Valley High School, and the Walker Valley Jazz Band is going to be entertaining us, and a few of the members of the jazz band are also members of their bluegrass band. So they're gonna mix it up for us Saturday morning from about, they'll come early to set up and entertain us from about 9 to 10:30. So we're gonna have some on-site entertainment.
It's gonna be like Hayseed Dixie. Anybody know what that is? Hey, I like Hayseed Dixie. It's one of those things. Got AC/DC on woodgrass. I mean, what can you do?
There you go.
One other quick announcement. Hugh has secured from Mayfield Dairy our milk and our orange juice for Pancake Day. We've got to pick that up tomorrow morning, approximately at 10 a.m., if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Hugh? Does anyone who's not going to be able to attend on Saturday morning and would like to get some hours in terms of community service hours by driving up and picking up and so forth, got a pickup truck that would be willing to do that? Anyone, like tomorrow? I know it's short notice, but it's one of those things. If not, then I guess I know where I'll be in the morning there. Okay. Doug. Kay Smith.
We've got some sign-up sheets on different tables, and they know which table to send it to when we get through. We have several volunteer opportunities coming up. We just had our county speech, and now we're having what they call the SEC Public Speaking Contest. It will be on Saturday, April the 13th. That's a week from this coming Saturday. And there's actually two different judging opportunities. In the morning, you would be there at 9:15 to judge what we call in 4-H the demonstration contest. And it's actually a speech using visuals is what it is. So it's a little more involved, and we need some judges for that. And they're in categories, and we have all these different categories that you can judge in. That's the first opportunity. The contest will be at Cleveland State. We'll be in the Coleman Building, just like our regular speech. It's just a matter of getting it done there. Then in the afternoon, you need to be there by 1:30 is the actual public speaking contest, and we'll be looking at 4-H'ers from grades 4 through 8 from the 8 counties that are in the SEC, and the SEC stands for the southeastern corner of Tennessee. So that's what we're doing. So there's two different sheets, so if you can do either one, and then put your cell number or email address on there as well. We appreciate that. And then I had a call yesterday from a teacher at Walker Valley for our On My Own financial simulation. We've had several of you ask about that. And the only problem is she didn't respond back to give me a confirmed date. So what I've done on the sheet is just put 4 different dates, and if you think you might help, put your name, again, your cell number, and the date that you could help. And if it's that date, I will contact you once she gets back with me. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Third opportunity, I didn't do a sheet for it, is tonight. We have our county demonstration contest. They'll be at Ocoee Middle. And if you want to help judge tonight, it would be at 6 o'clock at Ocoee Middle. And after Kiwanis Day, you can let me know if you're interested in that, and I'll give you a little more detail on that. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Just kind of back up a second on Pancake Day. So far, we've had 26 members who have signed up to help aid and assist on Saturday morning. I'm very happy about that. Happy, joy. On that one, but thank you so much for taking your time out on a Saturday to help make this happen. I want to make sure to pass that along. Are there any other announcements from the floor?
Chris, I
Yes,
just
sure.
want to let everybody know, I have some cookbooks for American Cancer Society. They're $5 if anybody would like to have one. They're to help I think the team is the band. So I have a girlfriend that's had breast cancer twice, and I agreed to help her sell some of these.
Good deal. Also, we've got a vacancy on the board of directors. Joyce Vanderpool has resigned effective April the 1st. She's unable to be here. She wants to potentially come back into the club at a later date. But that will create an additional vacancy on the board. We will be having our annual meeting to the selection of officers, and this will be an additional vacancy on that. We'll have the slate of officers read next Thursday, hold over another week, take nominations from the floor, and then we will proceed with voting the following week, the second week. I'm trying to remember exactly how mine was, but I think second. But anyway, I just wanted to give you a heads up on that as well. Seeing no further announcements, I'll turn it over to our program chairman for the month of April, Bruce Bradford.
It's always dangerous when I get behind the microphone. Thank you from the east table there. West table, excuse me. Hey, it's good to have today a lady that pretty much everybody knows. If not, you will know her soon if you're new to Cleveland. She's one of my favorite folks, someone who I knew when I first signed up for this month. This was the first person on my list to call to speak. Our guest today is a graduate of UTC and the graduate school at UTK. She is the Chamber's Vice President for the Convention and Visitors Bureau. She's been with the Chamber of Commerce for 13 years. She is a native Clevelander and is very happy that she is spending her career promoting her hometown. She has 3 stepdaughters, husband Dewey, who, by the way, of all the presenters I've ever had, is the one that I got the most positive feedback on from you guys. I think some people even told me he was kind of one of the best you'd ever heard, and so Melissa has some big shoes to fill. But anyway, but Dewey did a great job for us. So please give a warm Kiwanis welcome to Melissa Woody.
Because you get a standing ovation right off the bat, so like the pressure's all gone. So happy to be with you guys. I'm so happy to have the opportunity again. I don't know if it's been maybe about a year and a half since I've been here, so I may repeat some of the information, but Kay over here said nobody remembers it anyway, so I think I'm safe. I always like to tell you a little bit about my department at the Chamber. We have several different divisions at the Chamber, and I'm in the division that's called the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And in some communities like Chattanooga and Knoxville and Nashville, some of those bigger cities, they have a Convention and Visitors Bureau that's separate from their chamber. And they have their own membership, their own staffing, it's all housed separately. But here in Bradley County, it makes more sense for us to do a Convention and Visitors Bureau that's within the chamber, because we just don't have the size town and the budget to be able to stand on our own. So the Convention and Visitors Bureau, like in Chattanooga, has about 25 employees or so. Here it is, ta-da, me. So I'm pretty much a one-woman show with a lot of help from our staff at the Chamber with brochure distribution and special projects and web stuff and social media stuff. So thank goodness that they all kind of want to get on that Convention and Visitors Bureau bandwagon, because it's the fun division of the Chamber. We're all about attracting people here in our community so that they can come and enjoy what we have to offer in our region, and also spend a little money while they're here. Because we have there's a study that's done every year by the state of Tennessee, and it's the impact of tourism on Tennessee counties. And our county usually ranks around 13th or 14th of all Tennessee counties as far as tourism revenue goes. And we have about $112 million of tourism revenue just in Bradley County. That's from people staying in our hotels, eating in our restaurants, shopping in our shops, doing any activities here that cost money, and their visitors. There's a formula that's used in that study that kind of calculates that according to sales receipts, according to hotel motel tax, and that study is different for other counties. Like, for instance, in Gatlinburg, what would you think the percentage of restaurant revenue is from tourism in Gatlinburg?
90%.
Probably about in the 90%. Here it's about 20 to 25%. So I mean, you have to take each individual community and look at what the makeup of that community is, and what in Gatlinburg, tourism is the main industry there. Our $112 million equates to about $8.5 million of local and state sales tax. So if you divide that by and I'm going back to my algebra days in Mr. Ramsey's class when I was in middle school. I learned how to do this.
Right before you retired.
Love you. I learned how to do this. I learned how to divide by the number of households, and that comes up with about $235 of savings that each household experiences because of our visitors, because of what our visitors spend. When you go to Hilton Head or you go to Disney World, you pay a lodging tax, or you spend money there, and you help them support their police and fire protection, their schools, everything that taxes pay for, and that's the same thing that our visitors do for us. So tourism is a very important part of our economy. It is definitely a revenue generator. For the state of Tennessee,
every $1 that is spent promoting the state of Tennessee results in $21 in return. Now, if I knew of an investment like that, I'd be on it right away. Steve's over there shaking his head. He's like, "Yeah, let me know about that." So yeah, it's a big revenue-generating investment for a community to promote to tourists. We are fortunate in this area that we are very rich in Cherokee heritage. So part of my job is promoting this area, but also another part of my job is to help create things or help products developed that people can experience when they're here, and people can consume while they're here. My job is to attract people here, but then also when you think of a product, you might think of a box of detergent or a Coke on a shelf. I think of a product as an experience that people can have when they're here. A tourism product is an event, or Red Clay State Park that you can visit and consume that information and consume that experience. The Museum Center at 5 Points, that's one of our main attractors here in the downtown area, and I market our downtown as an attraction altogether, as an experience that you can come to a cute downtown and come to events and go to the museum and go to a great restaurant and experience that downtown experience. So that's a product. One of the products that I've been working on lately is Charleston, Tennessee. And you may think, Melissa, why are you spending so much time in Charleston, Tennessee? Well, I mentioned Red Clay, and Red Clay was the last Eastern Council grounds for the Cherokee Nation. The last Washington, D.C., if you will, for the Cherokee people before they were removed on the Trail of Tears to the west. And so that was their seat of government. It's a very sacred area. It's a wonderful state park that we are so proud of. Our state parks won the best, I think it was a couple of years ago, they won the best state park system in the United States. And there's a lot of really innovative things going on at Red Clay with some biofuels and things like that that they're trying at Red Clay. Well, that's a very important Cherokee site in the southern part of our county. There is a site or a story in the northern part of our county that's not being told at all. Imagine, how many people have ever been to Gettysburg? Let's pick Gettysburg. Okay, yeah, me too. How many people have ever been to Chickamauga battlefield? Okay, so if there weren't any markers or signs at Chickamauga or Gettysburg, would you have any idea what happened there? It's pretty much rolling fields. I mean, Mylan's probably read Civil War books, so he might know what's happening. But, there's not, rolling fields, grass, some wooded areas. You wouldn't really, passing by, know what has happened there. That's basically what's happening in Charleston, Tennessee. Charleston, Tennessee was the military operational headquarters for the entire Trail of Tears operation. So when you see a sign at Ross's Landing, for instance, that says this is the start of the Trail of Tears, or in Guntersville, Alabama, that says this is the start of Trail of Tears, or a brochure that I have produced in my office that says Charleston's the start of Trail of Tears, yeah, that's all true. My opinion of the start of the Trail of Tears is that it started at every doorstep that those people had to leave their families, they had to leave their homes, they had to leave the land that they felt God placed them in, and that they still had their ancestors smoldering in the ground. It's not like us moving to Nashville for a new job. Hassan's here, he's got a new job, he might move to Cleveland. So it's not the same for the Cherokee people, and especially back then. When they had to be removed from the land they felt where God had placed them, that was part of their identity. So, here we just think, oh, I'm going to, move to this part of the town or this part of the country for this opportunity. That's not the way they thought about it. So they thought about, that removal was stripping a piece of their identity. And so that whole operation was all carried out from present-day Charleston, Tennessee. It was called Fort Cass. It was named after the current Secretary of War, who was named Cass. And it was a military operational base that was a collection of encampments that stretched about 40 miles from Charleston into Tassau toward Cleveland. And so there were camps all over the place. There's estimates of there could have been from 9,000 to 15,000 Cherokee gathered there at one time. there were 10 detachments that left from Fort Cass. One of them was the Bell Route, which was just recently in the last couple of years distinguished by, recognized by Congress as an official route of the Trail of Tears, and it went through Black Fox and down toward Ross's Landing. And then the other 9 detachments left, they're called the Northern Route, and they went over across our county toward Meigs County to Blythe Ferry and crossed the river at Blythe Ferry. So that's Blythe Memorial Park is there on the banks of the Tennessee, and that is, or I'm sorry, Cherokee Memorial Park at Blythe Ferry is there on the banks of Tennessee to commemorate that crossing there at Tennessee. But that party originated here at Fort Cass. And so General Winfield Scott was there at Fort Cass in command of that whole operation. There's no signage that tells that. Nothing really still stands except for some remains, like, for instance, the Henniger House. The Henniger House was built after the removal, but the important story or person is Henry Benton Henniger. He was a friend of Chief John Ross. And Ross was the principal chief of the Cherokee Nation for over 40 years. And this is him on the front of your passport to Cherokee Heritage. He was a very well-educated man. He was only an 8th Cherokee. He was the son of a Scottish immigrant. He was very well adept at negotiating with Western culture. That's one reason why he remained principal chief for many, many years. So when tell him you're busy, Mylon. You're very busy on an important presentation. So when Chief John Ross, pretty much, he had taken the cause to the Supreme Court to keep their land and stay on their land, and the Supreme Court upheld that decision, but President Jackson vetoed that and would not allow it. And so when he pretty much saw the writing on the wall that it was going to happen, Chief John Ross asked General Winfield Scott, can we coordinate our own departure and leave this land with dignity? And General Scott granted that wish. And so Henry Benton Henniger was a friend of Chief John Ross, and so he was one of the detachment leaders. He asked him if he would lead a detachment. And so he was a white American, and so he came back after he led that detachment to here where his home was, and he built that house in 1849. And settled with a family, and so that's the significance, according to the Trail of Tears, of the Henniger House. But then later on, Sherman stayed at the Henniger House during the Civil War, and in fact, that was the fall of 1863. So we're coming up on that 150th anniversary of Sherman staying in our community coming up. So that's kind of what we're doing right now is developing this heritage project. We called it your passport to explore Cherokee heritage because if you think about it, this was the Cherokee Nation. How many people here live in Bradley County? Okay, all of your houses are located on the Cherokee Nation. I know, Adam, is that not shocking? So, yes, you had to have a passport to pass through this area. This was all the Cherokee Nation. This was not the United States of America. If you stood on the banks of the Hiwassee and you looked over to the Calhoun side, you were looking at America. You stood at Charleston and looked over to Calhoun, you're looking at the United States of America. So, I mean, to drive that home to people, we decided to call this a passport because it takes you to another time, another place in time, and explains all of that happened. Now, who can tell me, why have we not known this? Why have we not really talked about this? It's kind of hard to talk about. It's a hard subject to say, come up here, Junior, let me tell you what we did to the Indians, in this area. You get the land lotto going, you settle in that land, and then you don't talk about it anymore. I mean, that's, good Southern people aren't going to talk about, the bad luck of other people. So they're going to, settle on their land, get rid of any evidence that ever happened, and move on with their lives and not talk about it. Well, that results in a piece of American history that's going to be lost if we don't do something about it. So we have got to be able to preserve the story. So what we're doing, we got together with some community meetings, and we got together with the MTSU, the Tennessee Historic, I'm a little scattered. The Tennessee Center for Historic Preservation is located at MTSU, and so we got a relationship with those folks. They sent graduate students here to do a Cherokee inventory on our sites here in Bradley County, not just Charleston, but our whole county. And after that, we started having community meetings in Charleston. How do we package this information so that people can learn about it and consume it and experience it? Because, you know, we all know in tourism, and I'm sure Hassan has had enough tourism experience being formerly with the Hunter, to be able to know that you have to offer someone an experience. You can't just put up a sign and hope that they're going to, you know, come and read it. You've got to offer an experience. So what we've come up with is a three-pronged plan in Charleston. One is a heritage center. And I am pleased to say that that Heritage Center is going to open its doors May the 17th. So if you have a chance to come up, we're going to have an open house. But we've raised a lot of money. We've written grants. And we are just on the verge of opening that. We might not have like a projector that day, but you know, we're still working on that kind of stuff. So we are going to open the doors. We have a wonderful man who has blessed us with his carpentry skills. He's retired from Bowater. His name is Harold Haddock. And if you know Mr. Haddock, you give him a big hug when you see him, because there's no way we could be opening the doors of this center on May the 17th without Harold. We're going to staff the center with students from Lee University and Cleveland State. And we've already worked that out with their history departments, and they're very excited that they have an opportunity to place their students in a public history experience. The second part of this plan is eventually down the road, we want to have a greenway that connects to a river park at the Hiwassee River. So I always say that the second phase, but it'll come way down the road, or the second part of the plan is a river park, because then I say that the greenway connects those two things. And as you walk on that greenway, you're walking in the footsteps of history. You're walking beside the federal agency that served the Cherokee, beside the headquarters of Fort Cass, beside where the barracks were, because we know where all of these things are. And, you know, there are other stories to tell with the Civil War, and especially with the 150th anniversary of the Civil War that is going on right now, and the state of Tennessee has really been pushing that story, because Tennessee is the only state that in its entirety is a Civil War heritage area. Even Virginia is only partially a Civil War heritage area. That means that every county in Tennessee, all 95 counties, have some significant story or some significant site that deals with the Civil War. And so that is really something to be said about Tennessee and their efforts to be on the Trail of Tears, on the Civil War Trails program. So we have two markers on that program. One that is at the Museum Center at 5 Points, that was funded by the Bradley County and Cleveland City. And then one that is in the park in Charleston that was funded by Bradley County and Charleston City. So then we also have one at the Henniger House that was funded by the owner of the Henniger House. So that's a really great, that was a good kind of coup for us to be able to do that, because anytime, you know, with my limited resources, my one person and my 27.5% of the lodging tax, I have to do a lot with a little. I have to make sure that we're getting the biggest bang for our buck. So if the state tells me that they're going to be doing this big Civil War trail and they're going to be promoting it to everywhere and beyond, I'm going to be on it. You know, I'm going to try to make sure that we're able to be on it, because that's a minimal investment for a maximum exposure. So anything like that comes along, I'm going to try to be on it. So that's, you know, that's kind of what we're doing historically. And those are, you know, the Civil War is a tragic story. The Trail of Tears is a tragic story. So we sat around one day and we tried to figure out, what can we do that's not so sad? And what can we do that's an event? Because you certainly can't, somebody said, hey, let's have a big Trail of Tears festival. And I'm like, I don't think so. Inappropriate, you know, so you can't do that. So we've got to, I was trying to think of what can we do that's really unique, that we can kind of hang our hats on at an annual event. And how many people know Jack Sanders? He's a farmer in Charleston. Yeah, Jack Sanders, he's great. He was sitting around at this meeting with us, and he said, well, you know, we used to be the cowpea capital of the United States. And I went, what? What's a cowpea? You know, I was like, what is that? I mean, I literally went nuts. And he's like, a cowpea? You don't know what that is? And I was like, no, but I like the way it sounds. It sounds funny. And so he said a cow pea is a black-eyed pea or a Crowder pea or a field pea. There's like 50 different varieties, and we used to be a large grower and exporter of cow peas down the Hiwassee River. And my wheels just start turning. I'm just like, oh, cow peas, cow peas. So now we last year had the very first international, mind you, International Cow Pea Festival and Cook-Off, which is a lot more fun than a Trail of Tears festival, I'll guarantee you that, because we would be lynched if we did that. This is, you know, you get the chance to have these cute little cow peas. They're so sweet. Their names are Chip and Charlotte and Charlie. And so we have created this logo, created this event. You know, everybody in anywhere USA can have a harvest festival, but nobody has a cow pea festival. Okay?
I take it, in Bozeman, Montana, they have a cow pea festival.
They have a sweet pea festival in Bozeman.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, sir.
You're right.
Anybody else challenge me? Challenge me. Tracy City has a dry bean festival. Come on, bring it. Believe me, when I first took this to the committee, we got a committee together and we talked, you know, my wheels are turning. I went all over the web and there was everything from the dry bean festival to the okra festival to the black-eyed pea festival. So there is a black-eyed pea festival in Texas, but nobody has a cow pea festival but Charleston, Tennessee. And we had about 2,000 people come to it last year, even though it was a big game day. We made a big boo-boo and did it on the Florida game. So, yeah, thank you for that support of this. And so this year we are doing it's on the second Saturday of September, so it's going to be September 14th, and the balls are in Oregon, so, you know, if you're going to Oregon, then you're way too diehard for our festival. So, yeah, we're working on, last year we had Susie Bogus. She was a Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter, and so we're working on booking someone right now, and I just happen to, I don't leave home without my sponsorship packet. So if you are interested in sponsoring the most unique, the greatest festival since sliced bread, come up and talk to me afterwards. We have all different levels of sponsorship opportunities for the Cow Pea Festival. One of our sponsors right here last year at Cow Pea Pal, Bruce Brown. And so
There being a cow patty.
before y'all kick me out, we are doing a 150th commemoration of the Civil War. We're in our third year of that right now. You didn't hear much about it in 2012 because in 1862 we were under Confederate control and nobody wanted to come out of their houses. So it was just kind of all quiet and not a whole lot was going on. But then it gears back up in 1863 as action takes place in Chickamauga in and around this area. So if you're interested in that, I brought some booklets. I brought a couple of door prizes, a couple of Civil War 150th anniversary hats that have Cleveland and Charleston on the back of them. And also a cow pea t-shirt from last year's festival and a packet of cow peas that you better get to planting right now so you can harvest them by the festival. Wanted to mention a couple of other things as I round it up. We do produce this, in the middle of it all, this visitor's guide from our office, and we produce about 75,000 of those, plus it's available on our website, and that is my stepdaughter, free labor, I'm not above it. We do produce this passport for Cherokee Heritage out of my office. We also produce, a walking trail for downtown Cleveland, which we need to reprint because I just realized we're on our last box. And we also produce from my office an antiques and collectibles trail that we just highlight the antiques and collectibles stores in our area. We are a part of SETA, which is Southeast Tennessee Tourism Association. I'm the vice chair of that organization, and we have many trails that we're on. Like I said, bang for your buck. I like to be able to partner with my neighbors, and I do that a lot. We have the Glory Land Trail, that's a religious heritage trail, and all these are available at the Chamber. Civil War trails for Southeast Tennessee, and we also have a state one. We have, I'll talk about that in a minute, farm fun, wineries, pumpkin patches, farm to table stuff, music trails. We have an art trail. A lot of our regional trails are kind of going for websites and apps now because it's so expensive to print. But I still think that people like to have a printed piece in their hand. So I think that we're kind of in a transition with that. But the Tenacity Trail is one of 16 driving trails that the state has produced, and we are on the Tenacity Trail. That used to be, that is the Cherokee word that became what? Does anybody know? Tennessee, that's right. Good job back there. So yeah, Tenacity is a Cherokee word that became our state name, and so we are on that trail. There's another trail that's called the Jack. Where do you think that goes through? Lynchburg, Tennessee, that from Jack Daniel. And so there are state trails all over the state, and we're on this one. So if you're interested in that, I've got that as well. Thank you so much for having me. I very much appreciate. We've got door prizes. Oh, you've got the tickets.
There you go.
Already drawn. If it's all this table, I'm going to know that. Okay, your Civil War hat comes with a Civil War brochure at no extra charge. 669. 669. You.
Sorry, Satan, you didn't win that
Stretching. Okay, and then a Cowpea t-shirt and seed packet and flyer at no extra charge.
Autograph.
654. 654. There we go. Now plant those cowpeas. I want to see them at the festival. And then another Civil War hat and brochure to 663. Hey, Michelle. There we go. We had one ticket left over, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, do y'all have any questions for any of the crazy things that y'all have heard today? I'm sorry, I was a little scattered. My dad has been really sick, and so I've been out of work for about 3 weeks. So I wanted to make sure I kept my commitment with you today. I can muster up energy when I need to, but I feel like I've aged about 5 years in the last month. So just bear with my little scattered thoughts, because at one point I thought, now what was I saying? So anyway, that's kind of normal though. But if y'all have any questions, yeah, Lynn.
What are the most visited sites in Bradley County?
Good question.
Well, when you survey visitors and you ask them why the most leisure reason that they're here. Now we have a lot of people who visit for business reasons, like for life care centers and for the Church of God headquarters and for Lee University graduation. We have parents that come. But the most leisure activity is the Ocoee River. And so that, as you know, is not in our county, but we're fortunate to have a lot of places to stay and amenities for people who would be visiting that area. The Cherokee National Forest is pretty much the #1 leisure activity that people do when they visit here. Now, in the last year, our hotels have been very more full than usual. You know, still got the same people that visit for ball tournaments and for, you know, regular reasons to visit this area, but who would be topping off our room numbers right now? Anybody have a guess?